Hey everybody, welcome back to another news roundup. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Excuse me for perhaps the lack of content this week. Just been rather busy and just honestly just been a bit lazy just trying to produce content. Um, so excuse me if there's just not been much of anything lately. It's just been one of those weeks. Um, but we have another news roundup for this week because we have some very interesting stories that came out in regards to a new release, amongst other things. So we're just going to cut this short, as we always do, and we're just going to jump right on in. So the big release that came out this weekend is, of course, Red One, which I do not plan on seeing, so you won't be seeing a review for that. And apparently, a lot of other people will be skipping out on it as well, but we'll get to that story in a little bit. But in the meantime, I want to discuss Dwayne Johnson specifically because there was a report that went out sometime last year that were allegations surrounding his behavior on the set of Red One, alluding to some questionable decisions, some questionable behaviors, specifically peeing in bottles and arriving late on set. No confirmation of those reports were made until now, apparently, from Dwayne Johnson himself, who basically admitted to those things on according to a new GQ profile, which I don't know what GQ stands for, but he basically admitted to the fact that yeah, he does arrive late on set and he was urinating in bottles during that production, validating those early reports that came out. Now he has denied that the amounts that the reports of the product like because the reports also suggested that he was costing the production like loads of money, like essentially nearly $50 million, which may suggest as to why the film's production cost is roughly 250. He's denied that, saying that it wasn't as much as those reports suggest. And expectingly, the director Jake Kasdan and his co-star Chris Evans, they've come to his defense, stating that they try to work around his schedule while planning out production, and that his general behavior on set, basically disregarding the whatever else is happening on set, just hey, how he is as a person, you know, he's all right, he's fine. Now, according to Chris Evans, the reason for him arriving late on set is due to the fact that he would have to do his workouts before he appears on set. So they have to wait after he gets his precious workouts done before he arrives on set. But hey, the man is polite and respectful, right? According to these two. So essentially, what we have again is another example of an actor believing to be all powerful and not being disciplined by the filmmaker or the studio itself. It's again the imitation factor that is at play here. And yes, I mean The Rock is absolutely, he's, I believe, still the highest grossing paid actor, or the highest paid actor in Hollywood today. So, you know, I understand that there is some level of authority that may be there because of that, but as a result of not getting him in line, the cost of your production suffered because of it. Now, maybe not to the severities that those reports were stating, but it doesn't take a genius to understand what delays do towards production and ultimately who is contributing to that, okay? Like every minute on a film set costs money. So if you are late, let's say like an hour, which probably is more likely the case of how this went down on the set of Red One, you're still costing the production money, okay? Even if it isn't as much as those reports are stating, the fact of the matter is that you are still costing that production money and you are contributing to that problem. So, so that's the first aspect of it. But also, peeing in bottles? I mean, I know that's not unheard of, but I mean, I don't wish to throw an allegation, but it's just like when I read that, and also lining up with this behavior of just like, oh, well, I'll show up basically when I want to show up after I've gotten my workout routine done. You know, the one that he takes steroids for and basically is performing an enhanced workout, essentially not being able to lift the weights that he's actually doing because he's getting older and breaking down. Um, yeah, that sort of stuff. That behavior that's present, for a fact when it comes to him urinating in those bottles, it's not him disposing that stuff. At least I hope it is, because I would hate to think of a poor PA who had to perform these disgusting acts, and I sincerely hope that that's not the case. I hope that I really hope that someone doesn't come out with allegations that echo the same things, because I may just in fact believe them, because this behavior lines up with that when in my head when I think of this. So, but that's just speculation on my part. Um, but um, but yeah, he's kind of a prick. He'll basically show up to work when he feels ready. He'll make production costs go higher, and if my speculation is true, he'll make PAs feel very, very uncomfortable. So, uh, yeah, and it's bad when the excuse is, well, he's a nice guy. Yeah, okay, I mean, that means you have no argument, and in some respect, you're also stating within that you're afraid to say anything. Also, that may be that may be a negative towards him. Again, that intimidation factor. It's okay to step in. It's okay to get them in line, because guess what? They're working for you. They're working for the studio, not the other way around. Even if his production company is involved, you had to involve him in your production. So you are the head. So the studio is the head. Dwayne is not. Okay, I don't know why he believes he can act that way. Even if it was for other reasons, if he was working on other films at the time, blah, 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 still, doesn't matter. You still have to show up to work on time. It's called a professionalism. So yeah, he's kind of a douche, and it's not cool. It's not cool at all how he was on that set. So that's how I feel about that. Now, following from talking about Red One as a production, let's talk about Red One, how it's doing financially. So, this is Friday when I'm recording this, and I'm recording it on Friday also for a good reason in that respect, because projections here in the domestic market are staggeringly low. Projected to make at least 30 to 35 million here domestically, and the film has already opened in the international market a week prior to its release, to its domestic release. It's already in a collected internationally 26.6 million, which includes areas such as China, Japan, and the United Kingdom. So currently, with these domestic projections to be considered, it will have collected roughly $60 million globally, in contrast to its $250 million production costs, which does not include marketing expenses. So, yeah, pretty disastrous performance at the box office. Now, according to Amazon MGM Studios, who acts as a financer and a distributor on this project, their concern for box office apparently isn't as high when it comes to their stance of success, which for them stems from the promotion of their streaming service through the collection of talent involved and their product being seen in a theatrical medium. If that sounds like a load of BS, that's because it is. I'll translate that for you. What they're basically saying is that we don't care because we know we're not making any money on this, and we should have released it on streaming like we were originally, because apparently this movie was supposed to be dumped on streaming, and, well, they probably should have done that if they want to cover their losses. And yeah, we're just basically saying bullshit because we fucked up, and we have no excuse for it, especially on this grand scale, you know? So on Amazon's part, as I've illustrated, to suggest that they don't care about the box office numbers and what ultimately counts is the interest in their streaming platform, what they're basically stating is that, as I illustrated, that they have no faith in the film, rightfully so, because I mean those numbers are terrible. Um, and this is likely going to be pulled out of theaters pretty soon, as per the reviews, the timing of the release. Because remember, we have Wicked and Gladiator 2 following the next weekend, which if you see my predictions video, my prediction was that Red One was probably going to get buried compared to these other films that are coming out. And more importantly, the cost of the investment, $250 million production cost, not including marketing. So probably looking at a 300 plus million thing. Yeah, dude, this is a failure. This is a failure in all the way around. It's a failure. And Amazon's just trying to find some excuse for it, trying to find a way to not come out and say, yeah, we fucked up. What they're basically stating in their statements is that expect this on streaming very shortly. So I mean, just all around with all these elements at play, with the reviews, the timing of the release, it was destined to fail in many respects. So it's not surprising at all. I didn't expect this to do well. And I would not be surprised if a streaming date is announced sometime next week or so, because, yeah, I doubt that they're going to want this in theaters for too long. So all around, it's a failure, and I would wait till the weekend to get accurate numbers, but given those projections and how it's already doing internationally, there's no saving this at this point. So. And Amazon absolutely knows it. Just reading that statement alone, or reading just their rationale, just perfectly highlights their complete disregard for the film, and just their greater desire to probably just dump it on streaming and give or take a week or so. So yeah, it is failing, and I'm really not surprised by it. So. All right, let's move on from that, and let's talk about something of an interesting development. Kind of, again, not surprising given the success of the previous films. As we've just mentioned, Gladiator 2 will be released sometime next week, and Denzel Washington is currently doing promotion for the film, and apparently he let it slip that Ryan Coogler, who of course directed the Black Panther films and also has a film coming out next year called Sinners, which has a weird aspect ratio that they're utilizing. Apparently, he is currently writing a script for a third entry in the Black Panther series, with, mind you, Denzel Washington potentially being provided a role in the film. Because he mentioned that Ryan Coogler is also writing him a role personally to star in the film. So Black Panther 3 is apparently in the works. No official confirmation from Marvel Studios regarding his comments or the film itself. So there's not been any official confirmation, but Denzel saying what he's saying basically kind of provides us a understanding that they're moving forward with another film. So, and given the success of the other two films, it's not surprising that they want to do another one. And also with just how studios operate, it's just, having their token, their trilogy, it's like, yeah. But here's my feeling on this. So, the truth of the matter, and I think it's something that a lot of people can admit to, especially coming out of the second film. I think the truth of the matter is simply this. There's really no need, or was no need, to continue the series once Chadwick Boseman passed away. Because, narratively speaking, there's no way to present a proper bridge or a smooth transition when your first feature is about establishing Chadwick Boseman as the title character. And so going from the original to the sequel is very, very bumpy. And there's a large requirement of recognizing that tragic loss in real life to understand the inconsistent nature that was with Wakanda Forever. Because I said it when promotion started for Wakanda Forever, and also when Chadwick Boseman very tragically passed away. And then them essentially stating that, oh no, we're going to continue forward with Black Panther 2. I said way back then that there's no way that would work, because it's just not going to feel natural in any respect. And at least to me anyway, it didn't feel natural at all. It felt very, very bumpy and very, in some respects, a little bit sloppy. And to be frank, I felt the tribute was also not as earnest when you have to, having to continue forward in a certain respect. It just deflates. It just feels like we're just finding a way to prevent the question of Chadwick Boseman to come up, and it's just, it's a question that always is going to loom over the series. And I feel in moving forward with another film, I feel that the same sentiment will come to pass again. There's always going to be a noticeable gap in the storytelling because of how integral Chadwick Boseman was to the role, and leaving no choice but to essentially swerve around, narratively speaking, more in that aspect than leading a straight line, because you can't. There's no way to fill that void that is there with this Black Panther series. It's not to say that Chadwick Boseman, I'm not talking about it just in a artistic sense. I'm talking about it in a quite literal sense, in a literal story. When you go from the first film about T'Challa to then him not being there at all, it is very, very questionable. So I just feel like it's just going to get highlighted again with another film. And I've had my fill personally with this series. I don't see any real value this time around to seek this one out, and also find it in terms of an artistic endeavor. I don't see any point of doing another film outside of, as I've illustrated, probably this company's desire just to round out a trilogy out of necessity or practicality, just to say that they have 3 movies. That's what it seems, at least to me. So I don't see a point in doing another one. I didn't see a point in there doing a second one either, or at least a continuum in the second film. So, but that's just how I feel about it. I just don't see any value outside of that original film, which is to say the original film I found was fine. And I think Chadwick Boseman was absolutely one of the better parts in that entire franchise, the entire MCU proper. I felt he was one of the stronger performances in that series. And just how integral, and just billing him as the Black Panther, to then going to the second film and him being killed off. Again, tragedy is tragedy, what happened in real life, but talking squarely, narratively speaking, it creates a gap. It creates a gap that can never be sketched back together or stitched back together. It's just always going to be there, and it perhaps is going to be expanded even further if you were to continue with another film. So again, just my opinion, but I just don't see the reason for it to exist at this point. So Denzel Washington being a part of it is interesting, I guess, but yeah, I just don't see any reason to continue. And I just personally see no real reason to seek it out for me personally. So, alrighty, we have 2 trailers to discuss for today, and then we will call it a day. So let's just get into it. So the first trailer we're going to discuss is, of course, the teaser trailer for Mission Impossible 8, which, of course, now has a title, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This, of course, stars Tom Cruise, once again, Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Vanessa Kirby, who I thought was killed off in the last film, but I guess she's returning in some respect. Being directed once again by Christopher McQuarrie, who has been involved with the series now for about a decade to this point, dating back to Rogue Nation and Fallout, and most recently with Dead Reckoning. So it has a release date for May 23rd, 2025. And let's remember now, we have discussed the marketing strategy for this film. So it is that they are going to bill it as the final film with a title like that. That's what they're essentially doing. Despite the trailer itself, the trailer itself I think is fine. It's there's a nice build up, but like building up, like the
all the films, and then, oh my gosh, there's this, it's been leading up to this moment, blah, 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 blah. Knowing that they are purely billing it as the final film for the hope to drive demand. Like, remember, this is not the final film for Tom Cruise. They're going to bill it that way, but it is not the final film for Tom Cruise. Knowing that that's the tactic behind it, just to drive ticket sales, I can't get past the deceptive attitude on display with knowing what I know. Because most people are not going to know that, and they probably should consider, how they're choosing to market this, but they won't. They're doing it purely for profit, and that's, I think, just very cheap, and I think won't prove worthwhile given its massive budget, which is 400 million. Um, yeah, I mean, discussing the trailer proper, I mean, I don't see any. I don't. There's not much for me. I didn't care much for Dead Reckoning as it was, um, or really for much of the other Mission Impossible films as of late. Rogue Nation was probably the closest to me caring as of late, but most recent ones, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, didn't really care about. So I've been pretty tuned out for quite a bit. Um, so it doesn't really grab me personally, but I'm curious if it has legs 8 films deep. Because remember, Dead Reckoning came out right before Barbie and Oppenheimer situation happened, so it kind of got buried in that, just that building of that social media trend. So it'd be interesting to see where this film is placed in the release calendar and how that ultimately stacks up. But yeah, I hate that they're marketing it this way. I hate that that's the objective with promoting the film as the final film when it really isn't the final film. They're just doing it just to try to make money, and that is kind of scummy, if you ask me. Very deceptive. So, would not be the first time Paramount decided to do some deceptive marketing. Remember how they promoted Mean Girls this year, billing it as just a fair original film when actually it's a musical. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think it's better if just to promote the film as it actually is. But you know, it's unfortunate, and I don't think those ambitions are gonna pay off. So, but yeah, personally, I don't care for another Mission Impossible, but maybe you guys do. So, all right, and the next trailer and the final trailer that we're going to discuss is for a film called The Amateur. This is the latest from, I want to say 20th Century Fox, or 21st Century Studios, as they call it now. This stars Rami Malek, Lawrence Fishburne, John Berthenol, and Rachel Brosnahan. Can't pronounce her name, sorry. This is being directed by James Hawes, who recently directed a film called One Life with Anthony Hopkins, which I saw a trailer for. It seemed interesting, but apparently that was his directorial debut also, this being his second feature. This has a release date for April 11th, 2025, and I mean, I can appreciate its cast. It seems fairly well assembled. And I mean, discluding Rami Malek, who I just really don't care for. I never found appeal for him. It's the same sentiment that you have like Timothée Chalamet. It's like I just don't understand the appeal for him. Um, I think that this would have been more intriguing if it was wrestling with a political conspiracy, because essentially it appears to be a basic revenge quest within a political environment, but is not in utilizing a political conspiracy, at least by how the trailer is representing it. It's basically if Jason Bourne was a tech head and not built for combat. And it's not. I'm not entirely sure if that's as threatening or opposing, especially in presentation. Nor do I believe the film itself appears to be fully confident in that idea. In showing you the threat of Ryan Malek's character, because there's a strange layer of self-awareness that the trailer has within its generally serious atmosphere. Like, you'll see the character, within, typical setups that, action stars would do, like explosions in the background. They walk in front of it like a badass would. But in his demeanor, he's like flinches and stuff like that. But the general vibe of the trailer is meant to be serious. So this like comedic kind of undertone or stuff like that, I don't know. It just feels a bit unwarranted. So, but I think that it's narratively, I felt it would have been a little bit more appealing for me if they had went the other way. If they had taken it as more as a conspiracy, more of a mystery, and not basically a manhunt where he's, just seeking out, uh, you know, uh, the people who killed his wife, blah blah blah. Who, to be fully honest, I mean, it probably may turn into that of a conspiracy theory. It's a political conspiracy anyway. It might just track back to the government, blah 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 blah. But I don't know. I wish that there was a different angle on that, because I don't know. It's just like I said. It's just basically as Jason Bourne, but if he was a nerd. So, and I don't. That doesn't really do much for me. And frankly, just as it is, it just doesn't appear to be much. And I really don't see a point to seek it out, honestly. So, yeah, don't really care. Don't really see much of anything of interest to me. So, but yeah. So that's going to be it for my thoughts this week, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just a little bite-sized video for this week. You guys let me know your thoughts on Red 1. If you guys saw the film, let me know your thoughts. Financially, your thoughts on that. And, of course, your thoughts on Dwayne Johnson and just how prickish he was on that set. Let me know all your thoughts with all these topics in the comment section below. Your thoughts on Black Panther 3 also. How do you guys feel about another Black Panther film coming out? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.